Already.
We are live right now, Rod. Welcome in. This is the CG submission show that I've been doing lately. I paid my dues to CGC in September so that hopefully over the course of an annual year, I will get the chance to do at least 3 submissions of books that I'm hoping to get slabbed. Thank you for you that are coming by to watch this video or who are joining live in the chat. This is my CGC submission series. I've never done this before. I just finished and got back the last book in my first 12 that I sent off. And of course, I had Rod, who is in the same boat as me, is having a lot of questions trying to figure this out. And we had the guru himself, right? The Obi-Wan Kenobi of slabbing, the SlabDragon. TJ, good evening, brother.
Good to see you, John. And congratulations on that submission that came back, because they were all really good.
I think I was really happy with the grades, and depending on this one, I might go 6 of 12 as 9/8, which I would be super pumped on. And then I think it's 8 of 12 worse 9/6 or better, which for me, that's a good number. Yep. Especially knowing that a couple of them were guaranteed 9.4 or less. So I wasn't expecting high numbers on all of them. And of course, one from the dragon himself went in that first round. And I've got another picked for tonight to hopefully make it work as well. Rod, thanks for having me on Buyer Pass earlier. I just have a blast on that show.
Oh, it's a bunch of fun. I love to have everyone come out and just talk about books and stuff like that drop out the next day. Of course, New Combo Day is pretty dope, man. That's what we love to do, go out there and grab some new books. But, if you're into stuff like that, if not, you know what? That's all right, man. You could just, just do your thing.
And I know everybody subscribed to me is subbed to these two guys, but if not, check them out. Rob does 3 live shows a week, plus occasional edited content. He's on other people's channels. This man, he is a hard worker, and we love seeing him in the chat.
I want to try to get TJ to do a show with me. Well, not a show, but maybe an interview.
Heck yeah, man.
Maybe it'd be nice.
He's got a busy weekend schedule, especially this time of the year. But TJ, thanks for coming by and hanging out. I know Tuesdays is the night when he's got a little more freedom.
Yeah, this is my day off. Yes.
So we are here. The goal of tonight is selecting books with potential for a second round for me for CGC, or a latest round of CGC submissions for TJ, or in Rod's case, maybe the first round, those books that he wants to get sent in right away. So we're going to spend some time the course of this evening kind of looking at why this book and not this other book, or what is the goal of my collecting and why this book would fit in, right? Rod, do you want to shout out the chat a little for me? I did it on your show. You want to?
I would love to do that. Let me see. I wasn't prepared for that one, but mentally I wanted to do it.
It's all right. Yeah, you can do it in StreamYard. Just do it in the StreamYard right there.
I'll do it on StreamYard. Right now we have Comic Man Andy in the house. What is going on? We have Backseat Driver 2580. Yo, what is up, brother? We have JP. Yo.
Hilarious. I love this. He said, TJ's on. I can listen to John if I'm listening to TJ.
JP budgeting and collecting. Awesome member in the combo community, man. We have Big Will in the house. Yo, thank you, Big Will, for hanging out with us. We have C.3.comics in the house. Thank you for hanging out. We really do appreciate your time hanging out with us. And here he is right now from across the pond, Van Rangeland Vigilante, Thurston. What is going on, Thurston? We really do appreciate your time. I'm pretty sure you slept a good portion, but you know what? Thank you so much. We really do appreciate, or John really do appreciate your time. TJ, at the same time too, man. We got Rob Boxwell in the house. We have our member, Comet D, ruler of all the jabronis in the house. What is going on, everyone? Thank you for hanging out early on Buyer Pass. We have Hack 79. We have a Floridian brother, Bake the Snake, in the house. What is up, Bake? Thank you for hanging out on John's live.
And Bake says he got his SlabDragon Heart box today, and he's doing an unboxing with Comic Books NYC tomorrow. You definitely want to check in on that. I've seen some fire books coming out of these boxes. So thank you to TJ for donating his own books to help a family in need. So a huge thanks to you, TJ.
No problem at all. Yeah. I'm glad people are liking them.
There's honestly, I was like, dang, that book looks gorgeous. And I'm like, my copy is all beat up, and that's an amazing, beautiful one. And Thurston says he doesn't own a single slab. They're too expensive here, and the European grading service is not at the CGC level. That is a whole new piece of information I was unaware of. Thank you for letting us know on that, man.
Well,
what's the name of the European grading service?
Ooh, yeah, I'd be curious to know what the name of that service is. Yeah, we got. Sorry, Rod, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think that's the next homie.
We got Stay Puff 1983 in the house. What is going on, Sean? Thank you so much for hanging out on John Comics with Kids show right now. We got I Collect a Lot. What's up, man? Thank you for hanging out. Yo, we're talking about CGC, hanging out with TJ, the SlabDragon Master. John Comics with Kids is an awesome homie in the community. We got Real Dr.
Did I miss Dr. Venkman? Oh, man, I messed up. There he is. Shout me out, brother. There he is.
I've never seen him before, but Real Dr. Venkman in the house. Thank you for hanging out.
He's been on almost every one of Perry's late night videos the last month. He is hilarious. He is awesome. So Dr. V, not only a great name, but really funny guy, and I appreciate your insight, brother.
All right. With that being said, we have, of course, the show would not be without Perry Comics.
Oh, did I miss Perry? Uh-oh. I'm behind on my chat here. Where is Perry?
And we have Comics on My Mind.
I saw Bear Island, but then we got Perry. Yeah, should I put clothes on? Perry, I don't want to hear about you.
All right. We have Drew Manchu.
There he is, baby.
What is going on, brother? Thank you guys, man. Yo, this is John Comics with Kids channel. I'm happy to hang out with you guys, man. There's a bunch of people popping on, man. Hit that like, subscribe if you haven't already, because these guys put out great content. TJ the SlabDragon is a master of slabs, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about submissions. And John, thank you so much for inviting me for the second time on the show.
And I always say these are learning shows for me. I'm trying to figure things out. I'm trying to understand what works for my collecting and what I'm trying to get done. So huge thanks to you, Rod, for joining me on that kind of a thing, because I know we're both in the same boat on that. Midwest Comic Man Paul is an awesome friend. He's doing great stuff, and I'm glad to hear his daughter is doing so much better. So thank you, brother, for coming by. And I think I caught every. Oh, sorry. Did we say aggressively relaxing? Thank you, brother, coming by. So tonight the goal is we are going to talk about the next round, my second round of submissions. I've got one goal, that is to find books in my collection that I don't want to keep, that I think other people might want in a slabbed form, so that I can slab books for sale that I think would be better in a slabbed form than raw. TJ, you've got a slightly different goal. What is your goal in picking the correct books for your submission?
My goal is to add books to my collection officially, because it's not in my collection until it's in a slab. And I have a lot of nice raw books I bought over the last 15 years that I want to get in the collection.
And I know, like me, you're a numbers guy. You like even numbers for your submissions. So what is the number you're aiming for this round?
8 or 10.
8 or 10.
Yep. Depending on how much money.
Right. And I sent 12 last round, and that was a lot. I'm aiming for something in that range this round. And I have a nice little short box here that I've slowly been putting things in. Everybody who watches my channel knows I put little labels on the front. This is my possible slab books box. And I just, every once in a while, I see a book and I think maybe I want to slab it. And it goes in here. Tonight, I'm going to be just sort of pulling stuff out to kind of say, what does the chat think? Is this a book that I could sell? Is it a good choice, one or the other? Venkman says, any early Amazing Spider-Man?
I got some Bronze Age in here.
Yeah, I was going to say my earliest one is definitely in the 100s range, so not super early.
I mean, I do have a number 6 in CGC 8.0. But,
did you hear that, folks?
I
Issue
heard it.
6 of Amazing Spider-Man in an 8. Hot dang. That is a fire number. Holy guacamole. And Rod, you're looking at your first few books. We were chatting in the so we have a little Instagram group, the Four Horsemen, and you were talking about books that you want to send in. And I was mentioning to you that sometimes, and this is advice for others in the chat, my LCS does this. LCSs will sometimes let you give them books to submit. And for a fee, you can send a couple of books in and not necessarily have to get a whole membership or anything like that. And I know Edwin and he mentioned that he might consider that he has an LCS near him where he can do that. We got the SlabDragon shaking his head. What's the comment there?
Do it yourself. Don't trust it to someone you really don't know. You don't know what you're going to get back. It might not even be the same book unless you really know these people quite well.
Ooh, that's a great comment. If your LCS is somebody that you've just started to get to know or that you're concerned, I know that the Boy Who Had Sevens talked about shady LCS dealers a few times on his channel. That might be a huge concern. I totally agree.
Yeah, I did that when I first started 15 years ago with one book, and they did not treat that book the way it should have been treated, and it was damaged by the LCS before it got to CGC.
Oh, wow.
So, never again.
Wow. Now, I've been with the same LCS for about 10 or so years. I'm very good friends with the owner, and he's helped me out many times. I would have no concerns about that. I really do. I'm very confident in not only his ability to package, but just the care that he takes in books. But I know that that's probably a rare option. And for other people, and I don't know about you, Rod, how you feel about your LCS. You buy online, so you probably maybe don't have an LCS that you feel super close with.
Well, I buy a lot of books, should I say, and I try to, I want to save a book or two. So I pre-order a lot of books, but at the same time, I do support the LCSs. I go out there, Wednesdays, and if I were to go hunting on Saturdays, but you know what? I do support because it gets kind of expensive. The wife is asking me, how much you spent today? I said 30, and she goes, how much you spent on your pre-orders? And I said, well, that's a question mark. I don't want to mention it right now in the air.
No.
But she, it's one of those things, but I want to do a little bit of everything to support the community the best way possible.
Now, if you trust your LCS and you have a relationship with them, that's a different story. But if you don't, you're taking a risk.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I'm in the rare group. I think again, I really do love my LCS and my owner Kenny, and if I can hook you up with him if you're in the Orange County area. He's a great guy and really honest, and I've been dealing with him since before I had kids. I just really appreciate his honesty and his hard work. C3 Comics says, what are your comments on the controversy surrounding having books CGC not being accurate, damaging books, or over or undergrading? And I think that overall, I'll give my opinion. I'll let TJ take over after, because I know he's been submitting books to CGC for a long time. I will say that I've heard stories of different things, and I know that there's going to never be a perfect system, right? There's never going to be the system that never has shipping issues or handling issues or mistakes in grading. And I know that even Comic Tom, when he first got started, did a series on Emerald City Comic Con, I want to say, and how they felt like there were so many books submitted for like on-site grading that they honestly felt like there were significant flaws in the number of experts on site grading those books, and that was not possible for them to have had 3 people check every book in the short amount of time that they were there, because they just I loved the math Tom did, where he basically just broke down the number of books submitted, that he noticed the number of people in line, the amount of books submitted, the number of experts that would have been there and the amount of time each expert would have needed to spend looking at each book. So I understand all that stuff for on-site grading, but I think the system they've got for shipping into their facility and the time it takes to grade properly, and as a result, the amount of time I've sent 12 books, I've checked 11 of them, and I think their grading is pretty close to what I guessed they would be, within, you know, a grade or two off, maybe margin of error. So for me, that's all I can base it on. TJ, did you want to offer your advice?
I've been submitting books to CGC for almost 15 years, and all the grades that I got back have been really accurate in what I thought they would be within, a point or two. I've never had them damage a book ever. I've never had any case where something was say, hey, this should have been a much higher grade than I expected. I think most of the complaints that are going on around in the community right now are from people that just don't know how to grade books. They don't consider what's inside the book as well as the cover, because the inside there could be a little tear or something that counts.
That's a really great point that I think some people overlook, and maybe if they've never even opened the book and they submit it, they're missing out. Yeah.
And also, there's a problem with some people in the community that are starting their own pressing, and they are damaging books through their pressing and not realizing it. So, because that's rampant right now in the industry, that bad pressing is becoming an epidemic and it's damaging books.
And I want to say, was it the CGC or somebody who had released a sort of notice on that, where they were saying, here's what we're noticing, be aware that this is sort of an ongoing problem with amateur pressers causing more damage than good.
Yeah, it's causing stable pops or pancaking, where it's too pressed and it's really damaging the paper
and the spine. And
a lot of people don't take that consideration. So, but I have never had a book damaged by them after all these years.
Just curious, TJ, just a question out the box. You ever thought about doing that yourself, like pressing and doing all that?
I look at pressing, and no offense to anyone that does it on their own that actually is really good at doing it, because there are people that are really good at doing it, and they're not amateurs anymore. They're really, I would consider them professional. But for me, it's like the old saying, someone who uses themselves as their own lawyer has a fool for a client. So I'd rather have someone that knows what they're doing do it than do it myself.
Yeah. That's epic good advice, and I absolutely love that. That's a phenomenal comment. And if you want information on the cost of slabbing, the options for different accounts and things like that, this is the maybe 5th video in this series, and you can go back and look at some of the older videos where I actually show you online my bill and what I went through, and I also go through and look at the account options. I will say, just as a sort of brief overview, the $150 account is my opinion the best option. It's the one I signed up for. I pay $150 or $149.99 or $149. I get $150 credit towards my first few submissions. I used all of that on my first submission and then a little bit more. And I just think the deal is really great. And so from here on out, all of the submissions I send in, I will be paying for exactly what I'm receiving, and no account fees will be involved until somewhere in September.
Yeah, I always found out that the people that criticize, we got to be a member, you got to pay $150. You get it back. It's free, dude.
It costs totally nothing. Free.
Yes.
And I know it feels like a lot up front, but the truth is you will spend it. And if you're planning, this year, I knew I would get 3 submissions in. That was my goal. And I knew that I would pretty much use the $150 in the first submission. And I went a little bit over that to send in 12 books, because this newest one that I'll open and share the grade of at the end went a little bit over. I spent more on shipping and more on the label. And as TJ jokes, it's a gimmick, the label, the additional, they've got a Hulk label now and all these things. But for me, I knew I wanted to sell this book. I thought it was a very high grade. It's a key that Captain Marvel fans want, and a Captain Marvel fan would probably appreciate having the Captain Marvel label. So for me, the extra, whatever it came out to, $12 to $20 was worth it. The book was I'll discuss the price of the book, but in the end, I felt like the book cost me nothing except to clean, press, and submit it. So it's all profit for the most part.
Now, I did want to say, though, the people are going to be submitting a lot of books to CGC for flipping. I mean, we're talking, like 50 books or more a year. Go for the higher tier for the membership, because that extra 5% will pay for itself.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not at that level. And my 3, or maybe if I can squeeze a 4th submission in this year, is not going to be worth all of that. But my hope is to make a little bit of money selling some books, so that I can then afford to do another 150 in September and have that money set aside to just pay and be ready. Because I'm enjoying this, and I do have books that I want to submit eventually for me. For right now, I want to talk a little bit about books for resale. And I want to start going through with TJ, Rod, and I, and showing some of the books that I want to submit, and hearing from the chat, you all, why this book or that book might be a better choice. TJ's looking for books to keep for his collection that he thinks are worthy of keeping. Rod's looking to, I think, protect books that are his grails, the ones that he's really feeling like he would like to have slabbed. And I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I'm looking to find 12 books that I think I could sell over the course of the next year or two, and being slabbed would be easier to do that.
All right. So with that being said, if you don't mind, John, let me see who's in the chat real quick.
Please do it. I saw viewers in there.
Yes, I did see him on the chat here, man. We got Rob Boxwell in the house. Thank you for hanging out so much on John Comics with Kids channel. And real Dr. Veckman in the house. I think I mentioned
he is
here. And let's see here.
Rob, don't crack it. Just send it in. Say, I want this label, and have it re-slab like a reholder, and pay the extra money for the label. You can have the same grade.
They will crack it for you,
They'll
right?
crack it for you. Yes.
And they probably have a machine or a tool that's probably better than whatever you could do.
Yep. And that'll be a lot cheaper than having it regraded too. Yeah.
So that's a great, I've heard this comment before, and thank you, Rob, for saying this. They will crack slabs for you. You can send them in slabbed. They will then do the work for you, and then be careful not to damage it.
Yep.
So I know that I want to say, isn't that what Comic Books NYC did with his 2 Amazing Fantasy 15 books? They were already slabbed. He wanted the Spidey label with New York City in the background. Of course, with a book like that, you don't want to be tearing it apart and possibly damaging it. Let CGC do that for you.
Yes.
And then you're going to save the possible damaging and allow them to be the experts on the scene.
Yeah. And they're experts at cracking slabs. So
yeah, I would imagine there's tools and things involved that you and I wouldn't have. I'm sorry, Rod, was there someone else in the chat we should be shouting out?
No, I just want to say what's up to Buter right now. He's in the chat. Well, you know, it's all right. We're all good, man. We're all good.
And there's JP saying, yeah, he had them reholdered and relabeled, and that was the big part about it. Perry Venkman is hilarious. Again, if you haven't subbed to some people in the chat, take a look. There's some great channels out there. I think I subbed 2 people from Buyer Pass tonight alone. There's just some really great people. Mark the Cuddy Sark is in the chat. Yeah, there is no guarantee on getting the same grade when you re-slab and rehold, do some of that stuff, but odds are pretty good in your favor.
No, when you have it reholdered, it does not change the grade. It's going to be the exact same grade you sent it to them. It's not regrading it at all. It's the same grade.
And Bill Will says, why crack the slab on your own? This is the best protection that you have, and you want to crack. Use a bag and board to ship it when you have it in secure plastic. Don't do that, right? Ship it in the plastic.
Oh, yeah, just ship it in plastic. You do have to put a note on it saying, please crack this slab.
Yeah.
So.
this was a great comment. Hack79 says, are low-grade books worth getting slabbed? And we had this discussion on the, I think, the second episode of this series talking about it. And I want to bring it up because I have a book that I want to submit that I think is going to be worth reselling. Let's see if I can find it here. Where did it go? The main book I want to sell is, and I'll go to this one here, boom, is Nova #1. I have a mid-grade copy. I'd say it's at least a 7.5. It has up here at the top, you can see there's a little bit of a dent, a little bit of a somebody clearly reached into a box and snagged a finger, and it might have 2 or 3 little spine ticks, and that's it that I can see on this issue. Colors are really nice. I think corners are really nice. I don't love this character like some people do. I think I could definitely resell it at a nice value if the character pops up at some point. I want to send this book in and get it slabbed. It's not going to be a high grade. It's going to be closer to a mid to high grade. Is it worth it? What do you think, TJ?
On a book like that, yes, it's worth it because it will still make a profit because it's a very expensive book. Now, a book like this in a low grade, absolutely not. This is packing material.
God, this guy, man.
I love it.
Oh, man.
That's a bit of an inside joke between TJ and I. So I posted on my Instagram that Vision issue #1, that one right there, is hot right now. It's on the hot 10 list because it went from a 25-cent book to a $6 to $10 book. And my daughters love Vision and the Scarlet Witch. They have 2 of those. And yeah, unless you get a 9.8, right? Is it really worth it? Yeah. That's hilarious. I freaking love that. I love Big Will in the chat. He says, Go Collect says a slabbed Nova 1 is $100 at a 7.5. And for a book that I paid nothing for, a friend gave me this. The short story is he promised to sell me Avengers 4 at a really low rate, really low price, and it was signed by Stan Lee. And I was like, wow, that's a great book. Let me get some money together. Stan Lee then died, and he was like, I'm sorry, it's now worth a crap ton more. I'm going to sell it to somebody at an insane price. And so he kind of threw our deal away to sell it to somebody else. And as an apology, he gave me this as a gift.
Oh, well, that's nice then.
He was a friend, and he ended up selling me a bunch. He sold me a ton of books, and I totally understood the situation he was in. I had not said for sure yes. I said, let me see if I can get the money. And I totally respected his decision. So for me, this book cost me nothing but to press, clean, and slab it.
Now, right now, there's $100 in 7.5. But when he pops up in a movie, that could be a $200 to $300 book in 7.5.
And that's my goal. I'm wanting to find books from my collection that have a low overhead for me that I can then slab and make easier for me to resell so that then at some point I can afford, like Edwin the Comic Jabroni is saying, so that I can then resell and then make a little bit of money. He says, you're going to sell away a gift, John? Shame. Edwin, I promise you, my buddy was giving me this because he was like, here, I feel bad. This is like $100. You take it. So it's not something like from TJ where he gave me something from his heart. He's like, I want you to own this and have this. This is a guy saying, I'd feel bad. Here, take this. But hilarious at the same time. I agree.
So I have a question for TJ, if you don't mind me asking, sir.
Okay.
So, all right. So I met Jim Lee, man. And this was when the Eagles won a Super Bowl. It was that Saturday. So I took a bunch of books to Jim Lee. We were hanging out at the Coliseum Comics. And he signed a few books for me. But he noticed he put a book on top of a signed one he just did and smeared it. So here it is right there. So is it
yeah, I think Stan Lee's issue is worse than that.
This brings us to a really great topic that TJ is always saying, and it was hilarious. So I don't know how to start this conversation. I told TJ and I told Alec and Adam, White Whale Comics and Bear Island. At the same time, I told all three of them, hey, I'm looking at this die, issue number 1, 800 copies printed, first print variant. And a guy was selling it, double signed, 9/6, slabbed, green label because there was no witness to the signatures. The signatures looked spot on to me for Stephanie Hans and Kieran Gillen. But I was saying, this is a really great price for this book. What do you think? And the hilarious part for me was both Alec and TJ said the exact same thing within seconds of each other. Alec said, like TJ says, don't fear the green label. Then within seconds, TJ says, don't fear the green label. It's basically the same advice you're saying for Rod about the Jim Lee signature, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because the red label is still not going to get as much value as the CGC green label will. And it's just a matter of time before some verification from another company will be found out it's going to be a counterfeit. So, and that's going to throw all the credibility out the window for that.
So you're talking about the value of a signature in a comic, which is already supremely subjective, in my opinion, right? Do I think having a signature on a book is worth something? If it's that Clayton Crane rainbow signature or any signature, it's subjective, right? Nobody can say that's Jack Kirby's signature. Dude's dead.
Yeah, old school collectors' signature on a comic book is actually damage. It is actually something they don't want. That's a new phenomenon for modern age.
Which is the purpose of the green label, right? It says ink on cover or ink on page 3 or whatever.
Yeah.
Because usually the old school, and maybe I'm wrong on this, but everything I've read about Jack Kirby signatures, because I have one and I think it's legit, but I don't know. Everything I've read says Jack and those guys would sign on page 1 because everything on the cover was viewed as sacrilegious. You're ruining and damaging a book. So those guys would take a ballpoint pen, open the book, and sign on page 1 instead of a Sharpie on the cover. And is that accurate?
That's accurate, but even a lot of the old collectors don't want a signature anywhere. It's damaging the book, But that just like pressing and that kind of stuff, the attitudes change because pressing when it started. Oh my God, was people in an uproar about that?
Just the idea of affecting a comic in some way.
Yeah,
interesting. I'd never heard that. Varingian, I agree. I think signatures are very personal. I think the way people feel about whether a book is signed or not is personal, which is why the only books that I've had signed for me are books that I want to keep. It's a book like I got Secret Wars 10, which is the Doctor Doom cover. I got it signed by Mike Zeck because I love that story. It's the original 12 issues that I owned as a kid. The cover is probably my favorite Doctor Doom cover of all time. I got to meet Mike Zeck. He signed it for me. I'm never going to sell it. I don't care about a gold label or a green label if I ever slab it. It's for me. And I totally agree with that. Versus books I want to sell, it's a different market, right?
Right.
Rod, do you have a book you say that you want to get signed that you think is on the list for you?
Well, there's actually not a book that I want really signed, but there's something that I got stuff here, man. I got stuff laid out in front of me. Maybe TJ can help me out. I do have something from White Tiger, and it's the first appearance of White Tiger in the magazine.
Yes.
Is it worth slabbing or
Absolutely.
no?
Absolutely. It's a few $100 book. It's at least a 9.2 or higher.
Okay, so this was I was searching for this book on MegaCon, I think it was last year, and I could not find it. And Comic Food 2814 found it for me, mailed it to me for the price for $15. He just sent it to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy crap. I read the story in it. It's awesome. I love the black and white stuff in it. You got karate art. This it's just dope, man.
Yeah.
So, man.
And I remember
All
you telling me, Rod, that White Tiger was the first Puerto Rican superhero, right?
Yes, he is.
Ooh, look at that. Look at that, Rod.
This was one of my contenders to get slabbed. Neil
Oh.
Adams Bruce Lee cover.
Oh my God.
Look how sharp that black is on that book. Holy cow. And is that a square bound book?
No, it's a magazine like the one Rod's holding.
Damn. Gorgeous
Dude.
black.
Holy crap, man. Yeah, so I was just like, I read it. I was like, holy crap. I just like put it away. And it's like, this is like one of the best books I have in my collection. I do have another one. If you allow me to show it.
Yeah, do it, brother. I was going to tell
Hey.
Old Wolf, yes, we are live right now, brother. This is happening. We are live. I am drinking. Jabroni's in the chat. Jabroni, I just picked this up last week. Eagle Rare whiskey. This is the Kentucky Straight Bourbon whiskey from Eagle Rare on Jabroni's advice. If you don't know, Edwin, the comic, he is my bourbon brother as well. And I'm trying this for the first time. It is amazing. It is good stuff. I knew I was going to be on with the original whiskey fan, SlabDragon, and had to have a little something special.
Yep.
All right. So then there's a book. It's a Golden Age book. My only Golden Age book. It came from Robert
Galvin, yeah.
And this is this one here. This is a 1949 Beirut sports book. I actually reached out to the guru, Comic Tom's homie, and I think it's a series or something like that. So, is it worth slabbing or not? Do you know anything about
That's
this?
worth slabbing just to preserve it. That's a piece of history. That is Golden Age should be encapsulated and saved.
Just as a
doesn't matter what the grade is.
Just because of the age of the book.
Yeah, doesn't matter what the grade is.
This is I can't believe he knows I'm a baseball fan. Obviously, you could tell with the Phillies behind me. And then he was like, I'm sending you out a book, and I can't believe I got it. And it's my, it means a lot to me. And then we could keep it going here.
So let's take a look at TJ. What have you got on your list of books that you're thinking of maybe this next round submitting?
Well, here's some candidates for the Comic Book Hall of Fame, the collection.
Oh God!
I got Journey to Mystery, number 104.
Whoa!
This is probably 8.0 or higher.
God, it looks so sharp. I swear I bought new books that are the same grade.
I got an X-Men 99.
Oh, I love that cover with Colossus in the bubble. I freaking love that.
Yeah, this is going to be at least a 9.2 or higher.
Oh my God!
Yeah, that makes my books look like crap right now.
I got the first appearance of Old Man Logan.
That's the great variant, the Michael Turner variant. Yeah. What's the ratio on that?
I'm not sure, but this is going to be at least a 9.6 or higher.
Holy cow. That is beautiful. I love that cover. It's for me, it's the throwback to the whole point of that series, which is it's a Western.
Yes. I got this Daredevil 105, which is the origin of Moondragon.
Oh, man. And that's one of there's a handful in that run of Daredevil and the Black Widow. What is it, like 20, 40? Less than 40, right?
Yes.
Oop. Collect-a-lot says, I got to get that X-Men.
I got a 9.6.
Ooh, yeah.
Cat number 1.
Beautiful.
Dude, that is clean. Raw. It's
this
clean
one
already.
Spider-Man 86. This is the first modern appearance of Black Widow with the new costume.
Oh, wow. And that white and black cover, too.
And this is probably going to be a 9.4 or higher.
Holy cow. Beautiful. Look at all the chats. I love it. That's awesome. Wow. They're just like, oh, no, Gibbon Gang.
Oh, no, John, no.
This is the Man Wolf pack here. What are we doing?
Wait for it.
Put him on timeout, John.
No way.
I
Nobody
didn't
puts
even know
Dragon
I
in
already
timeout.
owned this. I didn't even know I already owned this until today.
We're still man wolf here. We're still man. I got my double man wolves right here.
Oh my god, man.
I will say these are in my potential send-offs because I'm looking for a high grade copy of Amazing Spider-Man 124. And I've got one that I purchased that is kind of dinged up and worth maybe a 5. And then I got one that's like a 7. And I'm thinking if I potentially slab these, if the chat thinks they're worth slabbing and sell them, maybe I could afford a higher grade one. Gibbon gang. Everybody's like, Gibbon gang, Gibbon gang. I love it.
That Gibbon's probably 9.4.
9.4. Okay.
This one's probably
Old Wolf
6.
is texting me. There it is. Let's blow that up. Now we're talking. What do you think that is?
9.6.
Oh, man. I'm just going to drink just looking at that.
Oh, I wish I could drink more, but I can't. I got to work tomorrow.
Man Wolf. Man, that's a gorgeous copy. Holy guacamole.
Yep.
That is a clean copy.
I bought this about 8 years ago and for like 100.
That's a good deal for a 9.6. Holy cow.
Jeez, man.
Vankman says he bought a ASM 122 a few years back for $35. That's a good deal. Oh, I love this book. That's a great book, TJ.
Yep. This is going to be 8.0 or higher, I think. It might be a little less, but I'm going to adjust my collecting habits where if it's in the 7s, I'm still going to put it in my collection.
So you
Magneto
did you
trying to take
recently
the
pick
hammer.
these up, or you had them in your collection for a while, and now you're saying, "All right, I want to send them out to CGC."
Oh,
Right, John.
these are not in my collection until they're in a slab. Yeah.
That's the rule TJ keeps for himself is books that are raw aren't in his collection. They're just hanging out. Once they're slabbed, they become part of that epic background you see there.
They're in the dugout waiting their turn.
Oh,
Nicely, well said. In the dugout. I love it.
Ronan the Accuser.
This is probably going to be in the 9s.
Let's blow that up. Look at that. I love that cover. I love the fantastic Mr. Fantastic in that cover, the way he's stretched all out.
Dude, it's so clean.
Make the Snake says, I rewound the video and forgot to make it live again.
And
shout out real quick. Let me shout out Old Wolf. I'm gonna blow myself up here. He's drinking with us and watching live. Thank you, Tony. It's nice to have you with us. So cheers to you, brother.
Man, I'm sorry, man. I'm not acknowledging the chat, man. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, we can say hello to the chat. Which Avengers issue is that, TJ?
49. And so I collect those covers, so this is on my list.
That's gorgeous. TJ, sorry, anybody in the chat there, Rod, that we haven't thrown out a hello to yet? I think we've said hello to everybody. Oh, sorry, there's one. Super Russ 9000, who was part of day 11 for the boy who had 7's 12 days, 11 days of Christmas. Thank you for coming by, Super Russ. Congrats on that amazing gift from the boy who had 7. If you haven't watched, that is a series that is powerful. And I got to cameo in the final episode last Saturday and jump in and gift the giver. It was a lot of fun. I got to SlabDragon the gift giver. It was a lot of fun.
All right,
I'm
cool.
embarrassed to say TJ is giving me a comic book chubby. That's hilarious. I do love that Magneto cover, Kirk from Comics of the Mind. That's one of my favorite Magneto covers. Oh, there's TJ saying hi.
Hey, Rod.
There's
Hello.
Hey.
All right, you go eat your dinner, Bubba. She came home with so much glitter in her hair, I thought she'd been attacked by a fairy.
I did.
You got attacked by a fairy?
Audrey, we were making stuff with glitter, and then Audrey and Lucas started throwing glitter at my head.
Oh, okay. Well, did you get it out yet?
No.
Oh, still in there. Ooh, Steranko. Sorry, I got to get back over to TJ.
Over, man.
I love this cover.
I think, isn't Steranko still selling posters of that?
I think so. If he isn't, he should.
Steranko is making money off of that cover, and he should, because it is psychedelic goodness.
You know, I people make fun of it, but I think Hasselhoff was actually pretty good casting for the movie.
Yeah, he is definitely the white version, but
Yeah.
I am very much a fan of Sam Jackson as.
Oh God, yes.
So you will you just slab that one, or you want it clean?
Oh, both.
Oh,
These
man,
are, I'm not going to slam anything
I
unless
just,
the press
I just
first.
like the way it looks right there, that yellow.
Let me give TJ a second here, because he has only 2 or 3 people that he ever trusts for his pressing and his cleaning. TJ, do you want to give them a little notice?
I'm actually looking for a new presser, because the only people I had pressed is Matt Nelson, did all my original pressing before he went to CGC, and he did an incredible job. He's the father of pressing. Then I had CFP do some pressing, and they were wonderful. They did a great job on all the books. High grades came back on all those, but they took forever. It was like 6 months. And then I did CCS, and I had some mixed results with CCS. So I'm going to probably, I've been researching, and I think Midwest is going to be my next presser.
And that's Midwest comic man Paul from the Comic Core, and shout out to him. He is, from what I hear, top notch, and some of the people that I respect most in this community, DS Comics, TJ, JD, send off their ultra grails to Paul, the Midwest comic man. You can reach out to him on Instagram. You can leave comments on his videos, and he'll get back to you. But I hear Paul is top notch. I mean, JD is always talking about, I sent an Avengers 4 off to him. I sent an Avengers 1 off to him. And anybody who's as knowledgeable as JD, who does something like that, or TJ, who does the same thing, I instantly respect that decision. Shout out to, I saw the boy who had 7s in the chat. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate you, Matt. We were just shouting you out a second ago. Oh, God. TJ, doesn't he keep holding up every book that I love? I think this is possibly one of the most hilarious and amazing Spider-Man covers ever.
And this is probably a 9.6 also.
Jeez. So at one point, so this book, I bought one because I found a very nice high grade copy I bought, but I also won a copy of that book from Reggie Collects from one of his trivia nights. I chose that book as my victory book. I think it's a hilarious cover. Watching Luke Cage punch out Spider-Man. I love it.
Oh my God.
What is that one? 136.
Yeah, the first appearance of the new Green Goblin.
Oh, damn.
Old Wolf is asking, for you, what have you noticed is a fair price for pressing cleaning?
I've usually paid around $25 from the other companies. I think that's really a fair price for pressing and cleaning. Yeah.
Right. And depending on the age and the challenge of the book, I would assume.
Yeah, the more work needs to be done.
Yeah, I sent off in my first 12 books, they were almost all ultra modern. Oh, Jesus.
Is this worth pressing? Is this worth
Baby Yoda?
Is that worth having submitted, do you think?
Oh my God, yes. I think we're screaming a yes at this book. Everybody just type the word yes into the chat, because that is a book worth slabbing every single day of the week.
Yeah. This is probably a 9.8. Yeah. This is probably a 9.8. And I paid cover price for this.
Oh my God. That's the most amazing part of the story.
I bought this off the rack.
Wow.
I was
That's epic. Wow. So I will say, though, that for my 12 books I sent 20 off to my friend Andrew Comics and Dogs on Instagram. He did a really good job pressing and cleaning. There were several books that I didn't think were 9.8 on their own that came back 9.8, and I do think he's the reason for that. But I spent about $12 for the press and a little bit more for books that needed cleaning on top of that, plus a little for shipping. So it came out to near to what TJ is talking about, 25 at the most per book. But he was also nice enough. He was the same guy who would look at me and say, this book doesn't need anything. Just send it in. And he charged me nothing for those books. That's what I call good business. Ooh, early Ant-Man.
First Giant Man.
Oh, baby. Look at that. And the Wasp in there as well. Who are they fighting in that?
The Eraser.
The Eraser. Well, of course. Hey, Los, thank you for coming by. And I saw Mr. Gretzky, sorry. And I saw Fuchsia. Thank you, Fuchsia. And a huge shout out to Fuchsia because I know that Matt, Boy Who Had Seven's video on Saturday went long and she had to postpone her video. Love that you were kind enough to give us a little space for that. So a huge shout out to Fuchsia. Thank you.
Now, this is a Rican cover I have never seen for sale on eBay. I don't know.
It does look like it looks like a throwback to that Batman Swamp Thing cover he did.
Yeah. But this is probably a 9.6 at least.
Oh, Rod's holding up an early Avengers Goliath in the background cover. What issue number is that, Rod?
That's issue 32.
32.
That was my favorite cover costume that Goliath wore. I love
that blue and yellow. Yeah.
I never understood the antennas still on his eyes when he was giant and not small. But
so Goodwill is giving us the CCS cost for pressing. This is the system that CGC uses. If you're somebody that wants to submit to CGC and have that company press it for you, CCS is the company that does that. So it's sort of like a middleman. You send it to CGC, they send to the CCS for pressing and cleaning, and then they go back to CGC for grading. Is that correct?
Or they'll send them back to you if you wish.
Okay. So their cost is 12 for value, 25 economy, 40 for standard, or 60 for sorry, I'm off on that. 12 for modern, 25 value, 40 economy, 60 standard, 85 express. If you want to know what all those terms mean, because I know I don't, you can always check the CGC website. They'll break it down bit by bit for you.
Yeah. If you use anything but standard, you will forget you even sent it to them. By the time you get it back.
Wow.
It's that long.
It's that long, yeah.
Yeah. And I know that Adam from Bear Island and I know that Andy from Comic Man Andy have had some like extended wait periods because of that.
Yep.
So yes, definite.
Absolutely. What
No
grade do you think
question.
it is?
It is Dragon approved.
What grade do you think that is?
Oh man, this is clean. I have not sent it. I have not sent anything to be graded, but I would say at least this little.
How many spine ticks do you count?
About maybe 3 or 4.
Okay. How are the corners looking for you?
Clean. It looks clean all the way around. Maybe a little damage towards the corner right here.
Okay.
I would say maybe an 8, 8.5 or something like that.
Yeah.
I think that's accurate for the price that he paid for it and sent that out to me. So that was Comic Food 2814. Thank you so much.
Shout out to Comic Food, also who won the Hulk 180 from Mr. Jabroni in his comic box round 1. So I've got 5 modern books. I was curious to hear from you two on the panel, but anybody in the chat, if you were going to pick 2 from this set of modern books that you think might hold their value, what would you pick? I got this great Frizen variant for Something's Killing the Children, which is that.
Are these for flipping?
Yeah, these are for flipping at some point.
Okay.
Do you think this is going to be a book down the road that will be worth a 9.8? Because I'm willing to bet with a press and clean, I'm getting 9.8s on all of these, or at least 9.6s. I've got that pink variant for Oblivion Song, which for me is high on the list.
Wow, you got that one?
I got the pink variant while in Baltimore. I found one of those. I know if Alec were here, he'd say, send in the Little Bird. I got 2 or 3 of the issue 1s. And I know there's going to be another round of that book. I got this. I love this variant for the Strange Skies over East Berlin. And then I know this has got something coming up in the future. So I got that Farmhand #1. Any favorites in there that you think, yes, submit this? People in the chat, let me know. Is there a book in that list of 5 that you think needs to be submitted? What do you think, TJ?
Something's killing the children, I think, is definitely for sure. Now show them up again.
Yeah. So it's all #1s. Farmhand, Strange Skies, Little Bird, Oblivion Song Pink signature variant, and Something is Killing the Children #1. Let's see.
I'd hold off on the Farmhand because I don't think that's going to happen.
You don't think that's going to end up happening?
No.
Few indies are worth submitting. Interesting comment there. If flipping, I would fast track. You need to see if the value is there. Interesting, Big Will.
There's no reason to fast track those books because that's going to be very distant for something to happen.
That was my feeling, is that they were better as options for like slower track. Yeah. John, I don't know much about those, says Boy Who Had 7. Okay.
If you were submitting the Eternals, that would be fast track.
Yeah, and now obviously these are newer books. The risk level is higher, but the reward level can be on the same level. I paid basically cover price for pretty much all of these except for the Oblivion Song Pink cover.
And some of those are so good, they're going to maintain a somewhat of a value anyhow. So
for me, the Pink Oblivion Song was a guarantee, and it was kind of like, okay, how many others do I want to send with it?
Yeah, because that's a rare one. And Little Bird, I think it's going to be a cult classic and always maintain some value.
And like you're always saying, listen to Alec. And,
yes.
And he obviously has good taste in books, which is why I kept that one on the list, and it's why I bought 2 sets of that first run. For me, I felt like the biggest contenders were the ones that, like TJ is saying, these 3: Little Bird, Something's Killing the Children, Oblivion Song. Those were the ones that I had highest on my list of modern indie books.
Yeah.
What do you want to say, Rob?
Man, Oblivion Song is gonna be a movie coming out next year, and you know what? I'm gonna tell you right now, Farmhand is gonna be a. Correct me if I'm wrong, chat. It's going to be a TV series on AMC. So you may not want to sleep on that book. I picked that book up for $1. I saw that a year ago, and I saw a bunch of them. I wish I would have scooped all of them up. And you got a good buy on that. Freaking Oblivion.
I got that Farmhand. I think my LCS Farmhand was not popular, but I listened to the great legend. I think it's fun to watch YouTube, listen to really great people you respect. He was touting Farmhand. I went in on New Comic Book Day and I bought 1 through 5 at 50% off cover price. I just went through and I said, you know what? I'm going to buy the nicest looking copies I can find. There were hundreds of them on the shelves. I just went through and snagged a set of 5. So I paid, $250 for these books at most.
Jeff Lemire, man, great read.
And I tried to pick 9/8. If they got pressed and cleaned, I think they'd come darn close. Sorry. So I think that my profit margin is high on all of them.
Absolutely, if you pay cover price, you can't go wrong.
And my LCS, because I have a pull list, gives me an additional discount on New Comic Book Day anyways. So it's
So what's your other 5?
So let's look. I got some older books, not like brand new this week kind of stuff. I think I want to send in. I got this in Baltimore. This is the first Kyle Rayner. I think this book is in very high grade. There's not really any significant issues. So I can't guarantee a 9.8, but it's certainly in the 9s, no question. Above a 9.0, somewhere in that range. I think it's going to be a high-grade book.
Yeah, I think that series will help it too. So.
Yeah, and that's the question. What is this HBO show that they're starting going to focus on? Is it Kyle? Is it just lanterns in general? Which lanterns? There's a lot of questions.
I hear this is going to be more the blonde lantern. What's his name?
The blonde lantern.
The punk.
It's not Guy Gardner.
Yeah, him.
Oh, Guy, the redhead.
Yeah, it was red. Okay, never mind.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Can you afford to fail? That determines the risk. I love this comment by Big Will. Obviously, there's no fail side to this. If I spend $10 to clean and press, or 10 or 15, 20 to slab, and I bought the book for cover price, my margin of error is like $30 to $40. And I would make that on pretty much any resale.
I'm in a sweet spot for my submissions because if it comes back in a grade I want, it's in my collection score. If it comes in a grade I don't want, I'm going to give it to someone that's going to make them smile. So.
All right, so I want to talk about a book I'm sending to just get pressed and cleaned. I don't think I'm going to send this book in for slabbing. I got this for $5. This is the second appearance of the Punisher. The only reason I got it for $5 is because I don't know how well you can see. It is not sitting flat. Somebody rolled this bad boy. You can see it right there, right?
Is it breaking color?
It breaks color in one line, but that's it.
Yeah.
The corners are nice. There's very little creasing. I think you can press out most of it. And for $5, I know that even raw, I would get my money back on this.
Yeah.
It looks like someone was holding it like in their hand, like this.
I don't know how they were grabbing it, but right on this line. My goal is to press it, clean it, and then see what my presser thinks, and whether I don't think it's worth slabbing. But as a raw book, pressed and cleaned, this would be way more than the $5 I put into it.
Well, if he thinks it's going to be a 7 at least, or 7.5, you might want to have it slab because that's second appearance of the Punisher.
Yeah, it's a significant book, and if it gets me closer to buying my first appearance of the Punisher,
yeah,
that's kind of my thinking on this. But because it was so coiled almost at this one end. He was thinking, I can't sell this for very much as it is. I don't want to press and clean it. So I bought it for very little. And I thought, well, let's see how much mileage I can get out of it.
So John, I'm just I'm talking about the SlabDragon. So when you see a book in your collection, right? So is it like a specific grade where you want it to be slab? Like, all right, I know this is going to be a 9.8, or I know this is going to be a 6 point something, or a 2 point something. Where do you draw the line where it's like, all right, I'm sending this out, I know it's going to be this?
I know TJ has a very solid system for this, looking at different ages of books and what he thinks is a reasonable grade. For me, it's more about, is it a book I want and I want to keep, in which case the grade is going to vary, depending on how old it is and what I think is reasonable, or is it a book I want to sell, right? So I was going to show, these are 3 modern books that I bought, knowing that I could then resell them raw or slabbed, this is the first time Winter Soldier is Captain America. This Vision #1, I have 2 copies of this. I want to maybe slab one of those. Or these are some of the hot issues for Jane Foster that I think are high grade that I could slab, press, and clean. But I want to hear from TJ, what are some of your grade expectations by age, and how has that kind of shifted for you?
For a modern book, I really want 9.6 or 9.8. I'm not going to be, it has to be 9.8 or nothing. 9.6 is fine. For Copper Age, I really want, if it's really expensive, I might sell for 9.4, but I really want 9.6 to 9.8. Bronze Age, it has to be in the 9s. With the possible exception of the first appearance of Swamp Thing. I might settle for an 8. But for Silver Age, it has to be, let's say 1965 to 1969. It has to be in the 8s or higher. But I'm actually considering going below 65 into the 7s.
Yeah, you talked a little bit about shifting the expectations as books have gotten older.
Yes. I might even consider 6.5 of the very early Silver Age Marvels and stuff. Because like Spider-Man #2, 10 years ago, an 8.0 was in reach. Not anymore. So I might have to settle for 6.5 on that. Yeah.
And obviously, Kirk, how do you feel about lower grades than you're expecting? Obviously, disappointment. But at the same time, is it within the realm? I think all the books that were lower than I had hoped were in the realm of what I expected from them. With the pressing and cleaning, I knew they had gone up a little bit, but at the same time, I knew that my books at least had some color rub or color loss just from their age as a diamond shipping process and the modern quality of paper and things like that. We're running out of time. I want TJ to have a little time to go through any more books that he wants to have slabbed, or did you go through all of yours?
That was it.
So if you saw one of TJ's books that you think is more important for him to get slabbed, leave a comment. He'll come back through. He can look and see, hey, this is a book that has more value you think would be the book that he needs to get slabbed. Rod, did you have any more that you wanted to show for possible slab opportunities so people can come through later and say, slab that book, Rob. Slab that book, Rod. Do it.
I got one book that I just got from Edwin the Comic Jabroni. It's Shazam #1. And I just received this.
Slab it. Do it.
And I received this. I'm a Transformers fan, guys. So I received this one today from Two Brother Comics. They hooked me up. It's one of the books I'm happy to have in my collection. It's not a fan.
I hear that's a record holder for the most first appearances.
I'm glad about the able to watch that video today. It was a great video. Shout out to Alec and Reggie Collects, because Reggie dropped a video shouting out Alec and that Transformer book today.
Yep. So that is like one of my grills I got. Man, I'm just like, I'm happy I got it. So that's all I had to say, man.
And Kirk likes your shirt, Rod. Shout out to your shirt there, brother.
There it is, brother.
Yeah.
I'm going to run through my last few books. Again, if there's any that you think aren't worth slabbing, in the comments after the video's done or in the comments now, let me know. So I have a couple of Moon Knight books.
John?
What? Oh.
That Captain America Ross book?
Yeah.
I actually have a slab of that, so it's worth slabbing.
Yeah, and I think mine's high enough grade. I'd say it's at least a 9.4, but with press clean, I'd be curious to know where it ends up. Yeah. I have some Moon Knight. I'm not a Moon Knight fan, but I saw the value in these, and I snagged some of these. I love the covers, black covers, very few color breaking issues for either this or this, which I really love. And I think for the most part, maybe a single spine tick on either one. So I feel like there was slabbing and reselling. I'm not a Moon Knight fan, but I know there are Moon Knight fans that love these books.
That's the first appearance of a big villain that's going to be in the series. So
I agree. And I know it's unofficial, but this is the white dot variant or whatever, where it's like some of the issues printed in this book have a white dot here and some don't. So this one is one of the ones that does. I don't know. It's probably not worth much more, but I love this cover, of course. Beautiful, classic.
I have a signed copy of that.
Ooh. And talk about a book that's got negative space for signing, right?
Yep.
Right? It does have the white dot. So where's that? Oh, I collect a lot. When Comic Tom and this was like a year and a half ago, they put this on the hot list and they mentioned that this book has a variant with the dot. I went on eBay and I saw one for like $15 and I said, click buy. And I got it. And it was, I think it's got one little spine tick there and that's it. And I thought, I'm going to hold on to this and take care of it. And that's it.
Yeah, the show is good. That original 1980 series is going to really take off.
Absolutely, that's my thinking. Moon Knight is insane right now. I would definitely sell. And that's my thought, Big Will, is if I slab a couple of those, maybe a 9.6, 9.4, it's going to definitely cover any costs I got plus something.
I wouldn't sell them until the show comes out.
Oh, no. Yeah, wait a little bit for sure.
Yeah.
I got 2 copies of the first Larfleeze Green Lantern. I think one of them has a spine tick and the other doesn't. I don't know. Green Lantern 25. There's a key villain issue.
Okay.
What do you think? Okay?
If they're 9.6 or higher,
Those are the ones to send.
Now, I just found out there's a character called Agent Orange in Green Lantern.
Okay.
He's the Orange Lantern, the only one. Is that something worth getting? Is he popular?
I don't know that he's popular, but he's definitely part of that Jeff Johns colored lanterns kind of run.
Okay.
Another villain in there to look out for. Patrick Wall agrees with you. Hold until the show comes out. 9.8 or bust, says Big Will. I love it. Hey, my boy Chad 90 Miles from Comics. I'm not seeing you enough on YouTube. We need to do a little old man Quill talk at some point. So be ready for that. We talked about Old Man Hawkeye when that run finished. We're gonna need to do it again. The Greed.
He just had a baby.
He's a busy guy, and I know he's got the kiddo for sure. Let's see what else I got here in my stack. I showed the Captain America. I showed the Thor. Let me put those down here. I know TJ is going to be in the slab for sure on my Zatannas.
Yes. Are they all Adam Hughes?
I got 13, I got 15, and I got 16.
Good.
I know they're not 9.8s.
Are they 9.6?
They are probably, I would say 9.4 or better.
What are you looking at, John?
I'm looking at just spine ticks. I know that the black cover, this one has a couple that show, but that's about it. I don't love the character like some people do. I think the covers are amazing. I know Dem Legs is popular continually.
Yeah, that cover is fire.
So kind of what my thinking is, like I wanna maybe think about slabbing them to sell, but at the same time within reason. Like I don't want to slab a 9.0, right?
No, you really want 9.6 of those. People want 9.6 at least.
That book will not be allowed in this house. My wife will be like, "Get that book out the house right now."
So Big Will is saying if it's not a 9.6 or 8, keep it raw. And that's kind of my thinking. And if my presser takes a look and says, yeah, this is probably a 9.4, then I wouldn't send it in. But that's kind of my thinking.
Yeah.
And then after that, I got a couple of Flash, like this new Godspeed character, these key issues that I know are popular. Maybe I press and clean some of those.
9.6 or higher on those.
And that's kind of what I think is true of ultra modern books in general, right?
Yeah, because people just don't want anything less.
Right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. I got one last book. For those of you that have been hanging out, 25 people in the chat. I really appreciate it. I saw several people make it here to the end. I love Los is my boy. I love Los. He's a great guy. If it's a modern 9.6 or better, unless it's a hot modern key. That's a great point. Great comment. I really appreciate it. So this is the last book. We unboxed and revealed 11 of my 12. I'm really hopeful for a 9.8. The story behind this is I bought Avenging Spider-Man 9 and 10. I sold 10 in a lot, and it basically covered the cost of buying both. So I'm only out the cost of pressing, cleaning, and slabbing this book. I think a 9.8, TJ sent me a little thing, was in the $200 range, right around the low 200s. So I'm hoping this is a 9.8. This is the last book from my first 12, so we can have a little unveiling here. Are we ready for this? Boom! Oh, I'm so happy for this.
Nice. You have a great presser.
It's a great book. Yeah, I say when I looked at it, when I first got it, I thought maybe it's a 9.4. So I think he did a great job with this book. I'm super pleased with this. This is amazing. Yes, exactly. Boyhood 7. Boom. This is a great book. And again, with that label, with the Captain Marvel label, I think it's suiting. This is the first time she's in that uniform. Very exciting. I'm super pleased with this.
Can I make a small comment about your presser?
Yes.
Apparently he's really good because you got back amazing grades. But the problem that CGC is having is with people who are pressing those books, they're not good pressers. They're doing damage, and they think they're going to get a 9.8 back, and it comes back at 9.0 because it's damaged. And
huge difference.
That's the problem that's happening right now. You obviously got a good presser.
And I will shout him out again. Andrew's Comics and Dogs. He's hilarious. He's funny. He's got a great sense of humor. He talks to me through the whole process. And I'm really pleased with what he did. Thanks, Boyhood 7, twinsies, yet again. Happy to have it.
Now, if you don't mind me, John, I'm going to say one quick thing. I've seen videos out there where people were cracking their slabs from CGC on YouTube and sending them back out. Is that something where, is that a good thing to do or not? I mean,
I'm going to answer, but I know TJ's got his thoughts. I would assume it's based on age and has the book ever been pressed and cleaned, right? The older the slab, and you can look at the age of the slab. There's lots of websites that show you how old the book is based on the slab, because then you can know the likelihood of was it ever pressed and cleaned. But yeah, I would only assume that it's useful if you think it's never been pressed and cleaned in the first place. TJ?
I've actually got a book today in the mail that I bought for the express purpose of the experiment. It's the old original label, never been pressed, Spider-Man 117, 9.2. I want to get that thing pressed and sent back in and see if it actually gets a grade bump or if it's actually just a myth.
Yeah, so I mean, for me at least, obviously, I've only sent in 12 books. Shout out to Andrew because I got half of them as 9.8s, and then 2 more out of, so 8 of the 12 were 9.6 or better. And a few of those extra 4 I knew weren't even close to 9.8s, so I knew they would be low. Awesome guy, and I think if you trust a person to take care of a really valuable book, that's a huge gift that you have. But talk to people in the community. If you're looking for a presser, if you're looking for somebody to take care of you on those things, talk to people like TJ. Let them know, like, hey, I'm having this issue. Obviously, there's huge amount of knowledge in this chat. The Boyhood 7, Los, Big Will. Just check in. You'll find a lot of connections. That's the beauty of this community, I think, because you'll find people that trust others. And that makes all the difference. I made really good friends with Tank Collects. He's got 2 little ones on the way. His twins are coming here soon. And because of him, I met Andrew, and he's the one that's here in Reno, not too far from me. And I trusted him, and I got exactly what I had hoped to get, even maybe more. Thank you, Rod, for shouting out, liking, subscribing. This is just episode 1 in my second round of CGC submissions. When I get my books back after pressing and cleaning, we'll talk again. And then off to CGC will round 2 go. Huge thanks to TJ and Rod for joining me. Rod has shows on Tuesday, Saturday, Sunday. You can guarantee 3 live streams a week from this guy, plus occasional edited and unsuspecting live streams from this dude. Rod, is there anything I missed coming up from you, brother?
Not really. We're going to have Coast to Coast Comics coming on this Saturday. I believe our special guest will be Comics on the Mind. If not Saturday, he's coming on the Comic Book Community Shout Out Show. I don't know, man. Actually, I had to do a video for the monthly prizes, man. I got a bunch of books I'm giving away. I'm throwing out the Slab. This is 9.8 Dark Knight's Metal. That's
Ooh.
going in the mystery box. Not a mystery box, but in the giveaway. I got a bunch of comic books out there right in front of me. So you guys, if you have not seen it, y'all go find my video right now on my channel. I'm throwing this in there. My wife said, "Babe, you hit 1K. Why you not throwing the Slab?" And I was like, "Well, which one?" She said a 9.8. I said, "All right, I'll throw this one." So there it is, man. This is going in there too. So
Wow.
What contest was that? Because
What
that's
was
something
that?
I want to enter for. I want to get that.
Hey TJ, man, if you want it, man, all you gotta do is go to the video, comment below, and say I want in on that.
Not a
Yes.
problem.
Isn't that your Sunday video, brother?
The shout out show is my
It's
Sunday video.
Yeah. So check out for Rod his video from just a couple days ago.
But I have my video for the giveaway is on my channel. All you gotta do is just leave me a comment and tell me I want in. That's all you gotta do, man.
And I'm sorry, Mr. Gretzky. It looks like I just checked on Facebook. JD dropped me a note saying that Golden Guys was canceled tonight. So I'm sorry if you missed out on that. Hopefully we filled that void a little bit for you. I know we're not as Golden Age-y, but you got your CGC chat, if nothing else.
Oh, one thing I want to say about Golden Age books, I'm never going to have those pressed. I think they're too delicate to go through that process.
All right.
And I think you would really have to trust a presser cleaner with a book kind of like that. I know DS talks a lot on the Golden Guys about pressing and cleaning Golden Age books. Obviously, it's his forte, and he is moving into doing more pressing and cleaning.
He's really good at it, but I don't trust a regular like CCS. I don't trust them with it. I would just rather just send it out, whatever grade it's going to be, because I have no standard when it comes to Golden Age. It can be any grade that you want.
And I would say anybody with Golden Age questions like that, there are two people I would go to. Well, obviously TJ, but there are two people I would go to in this community, and DS is one of them. And Golden Age guru Jeff Eatson is a guy that I've met in person. I've talked with Golden Age books to before. He's called the Golden Age guru, really friendly guy. If you ask those guys just straight up questions, they will get back to you quickly. They will give you information. And for Golden Age people, huge resources.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that DS is not doing pressing for a business because he's pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. I think he does it mostly just for himself, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, just for himself. Yeah.
Thank you, Armando, for coming back around. We do appreciate it. I will be posting that book on my Instagram here in the next day or so. TJ is a member of the Stranger Things show on Comic Core. If you don't know, he's got his own channel you can check out. Lots of great content over there. TJ, is there anything coming up we should be aware of watching for you?
Not anytime soon. Nope.
You can check him out on Instagram. He posted books today and yesterday, some really great books that he's gotten new into his Instagram. If you don't know, every time he posts on Instagram, it's not just books he likes. It's something he is cataloging his collection. And you can scroll back through and look at some mind-blowingly good books.
Yeah. And the ones that will be posted that I posted today and for the next couple weeks are going to be brand new books I just got.
Oh, man. So on Instagram, find TJ Watson. You're going to find some great books. And just every once in a while, you have to remind yourself, these are real. Those grades are real. And this is actually happening.
Yeah. I'm closing the year out with a bang. So, yeah.
Dude, and I can't spoil it. He sent me a picture of his latest pickup. Merry Christmas to you, SlabDragon.
Yes. It's a Christmas present to me. Yes.
Thank you, all of you, for coming by. Have a great night. Please leave a like or a comment, and I hope to talk to you all again soon.
Like, comment, subscribe.